All right. So if you clicked in this video, that means you all are ready to change something about yourself. And to be very precise, it is related to emotions, right? And if that is the reason, let me reassure all of you once again that you are at the right place, because today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic and very important topic, that is changing your interpretation. Okay, now let me give you a brief summary what we are doing exactly here. We are covering this book by Thibaut Maurice, and the name of the book is Master Your Emotions. So far, we have already covered what the book is all about, what emotions are, what impacts our emotions. And now we are at the third part, how to change your emotions. And in the last video, we have already covered how emotions are formed. And today we are going to talk about changing your interpretation. Now, what is the need to change our interpretation? See, if we want the result in the external environment, according to us, that means we need to change our internal environment or mental environment. If we can tweak or if we can modulate our internal environment or mental environment, then the rest of the world will follow accordingly. And trust me when I'm saying it, it is something that I have tried and tested as well. Okay, so without any further ado, let's just begin. Before jumping into the topic, let me tell you that in case if you're wondering from where you can access all the previous content, then you can go to my channel, and over there you will find this playlist known as Master Your Emotion. Follow it ardently, you'll get all the previous content as well. Okay, now coming back to the video, changing your interpretation. Now, why we need to change our interpretation? As I said, we want certain desired result in the external environment, and for doing that we need to change the way we perceive things, change the way we interpret things, right? So same situation can be positive to one person and can be negative to the other person, exact same situation I'm talking about. Okay, and how it varies, it depends completely on the interpretation. Okay, so let's begin. So changing your interpretation, the sight of a slaughterhouse may trigger a negative emotions in you, whereas it may be positive for the business owner and natural for the machine operator. It all depends on how you are conditioned. I hope it already summed up what I am trying to say so far. Okay, now this is a quote from the book A Million Thought by Om Swami. In itself, an event or a thought has no power to alter your emotional state. What generates emotion is the way you choose to interpret the event or thought. This is why two people can react differently to the same situation. One will see a problem and blame external circumstances, while the other will see an opportunity to be embraced. One will get stuck, the other will grow. Now, if we are into trading, if you are into investing, if you are into stock market in any sense, then you will relate to this part. Whenever you are making money, that means there is someone who is losing money. If you are losing money, then that means there is someone who is gaining money, right? So basically for every seller there is a buyer, right? So you can relate to this in the trading environment as well. The same neutral information that the market is providing, on the basis of which you are entering into your trade, can become a positive one for you, can become a negative one for you. Now, how to become consistently profitable in a longer period of time? That's for getting that situation, we need to understand our emotions better, we need to work on our mental environment, and hence we are covering this book. Okay, now the way you interpret events is closely linked to general assumption you hold about life. As such, it is essential we first delve into the underlying assumption that lead to the interpretations. Okay, now exploring your assumptions. To enter a given emotional state, you made certain assumption regarding how things should be. These assumptions contribute your subjective reality because you are convinced they are true. You don't question them. Below are some example of assumption you may have. Problem should be avoided. This is a problem. I should be healthy. Live at least until I am 70. I must get married. Complaining is normal. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on the past. I need to worry about the future, and or I can't be happy unless or until whatever you think. I can't be happy until and unless I achieve this materialistic thing. I can't be happy until and unless I get company of this person, right? So these are some common examples that you can come across. Now, if you'll see each of the example that we have given over here, is it a fact or is it just an interpretation or assumption? It is an assumption, right? That means it is something that can be true but not happened yet, or it is something that we are choosing to what I can say, put our energy into, right? Now let's look at each of these assumptions. Problem should be avoided. Now this is one of the assumption that problem should be avoided. Now, if you'll say that problem should be avoided, many people want to get rid of their problem, but what if you can't? And what if you don't need to? For sure, some people have better problems than others, but everybody has problems, right? What if the assumption that you shouldn't have any problem is wrong? What if you need to learn how to dance in the rain and make the most of your problems? What if problems are just challenges to be overcome and part of life? This is a problem. This is like the first assumption we already cleared out, that how it affects our thinking. Like it can be taken in the other way around as well. Now, second one, this is a problem. What if this thing you labeled as a problem is actually not a problem? What if it doesn't matter as much as you think? What if it's an opportunity in disguise, blessing in disguise? And how could you make it so? I should be healthy. We tend to take our health for granted, but we cannot guarantee we won't get sick tomorrow. What if your health is a blessing and not necessarily the default position? Wouldn't that make you think of your health in a different way? I'll live at least until I'm 70. You probably assume you'll live a long life. But what if that's not the case? I'm not trying to be like pessimistic over here. I'm not trying to give any negative thoughts over here. It just the writer Thibu Muris is trying to put his point across by saying this. Okay, isn't living a long life is life a blessing rather than something you should take for granted? Unfortunately, some people die young, but that's the nature of reality. People say he died too young, but is that correct? Isn't more accurate to say that he just died, neither too young nor too old, right? I must get married. Maybe, maybe not. That's just your interpretation about your life. It's all about your personal choices, right? Should are generally things society or our parents expect you to do. You should do this particular task or you'll get failure in your life. You should get these marks, otherwise you'll fail in your life. These shoulds are generally things society or our parents expect us to do, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it has to be that way, right? These are often cultural norms or conditioned behaviors. Complaining is normal. Most complaining is a play of the ego and is not constructive. It doesn't help you and doesn't change anything. The only thing it does is strengthen your ego and offend people. Try Try to spend an entire week without complaining and see what happens. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on the past. You probably spend too much time dwelling on the past. Everybody does. But do you realize the past exists only in your mind? And do you realize you can't change it no matter what you do? Learning from your past is useful, dwelling on it isn't. Very important saying, right? Very important. Like, this is something that you can take from this particular statement or this particular situation, that okay, you're not supposed to dwell into the past. You can learn from your past, and you should not dwell into it, right? Don't commit the mistake again. Like I always say to my student or like my peers, that if you're committing a mistake once, that is completely fine, but try to never commit the same mistake again. You should learn from your mistake and get growth in your life. All right. Now I need to worry about the future. Worrying about the future is unavoidable to a certain extent, but it doesn't help. Instead, you should be the best you can in the present to avoid your future problems. Much needed things. Most of the time, we are putting our energy into past or future. But rather than that, if we can just put our energy into like the present day, then we'll have a better future for sure. And thinking about past isn't going to help you in any sense until unless you are trying to work on your mistakes. Okay, that's like one what I can say exception. All right, and there is this saying carpe diem, seize your day. If you have seen the movie Dead Poet Society, or you have seen the like what I can say Instagram of Virat Kohli, then you must have come across this saying, like this carpe diem, seize the day. Like whatever is in your hand, give your level best into it. Okay, and whatever will follow by it, it is going to be in your favor sooner or later. All right, I can't be happy unless insert your answer. Basically, it can vary from person to person. I have already given the examples for it in the previous portion. You don't need to have the perfect life to be happy. Happiness is a choice. You need to make every day. Very, very important. Happiness is a choice. So many people living a lavish lifestyles, having all the luxuries, undergoes depression or all sort of negative emotions in their mind, even though they have all the materialistic things, everything that a normal person is aiming for or dreaming about. They acquire all those things, still they are unhappy. Why? Because happiness is a choice and you need to make it every day. You must practice it, since, as we have seen before, external factors won't significantly affect your happiness. It's the internal factors. Right. These are just some example of assumption you may hold. My intention here is to show you that your interpretation and the emotions generated from them are largely the result of the assumptions you hold about the word. Thus, to experience more positive emotion, it is important you spend time revising your assumptions. Okay, so make the assumption that are going to be helpful for you. Analyzing your interpretation. As we have already seen, you interpret events based on your assumption. Now, below are some questions to help you understand what I mean by interpretation. Do you think everything happens for a reason and embrace it, or do you play the victim? Okay, put your hand on your heart and think about this question. Whenever something happens to you, do you feel like everything happens for a reason and embrace it, or do you play the victim? Whatever you are doing, you know the best about yourself, right? Do you believe temporary setbacks are just milestone that lead you to succeed, or do you give up when you encounter your first major setback? Both are like the possibility that people choose. It's all about the choices. It's all about which assumption you're latching into, right? Do you try to change things that cannot be changed, or do you accept them? Do you believe you are here for a reason, or do you wander through life without any clear purpose? Do you believe problems are bad and should be avoided, or do you believe they are necessary part of life? Now, each question, if I'll simply give its answer, but that will be my individual answer, right? I'm the kind of person, if I'll go with the first question, do you think everything happens for a reason and embrace it, or do you play victim? Okay, I'll say I do both. So 80% of the time I am in the first category, that I'm thinking, okay, everything happens for a reason and I embrace it. I try to get something positive out of whatever the situation is. But sometimes I do play victim as well, which is very less in comparison to the first one. But yeah, it is there, if I'll be completely honest. Do you believe temporary setbacks are just milestone that lead you to success, or do you believe you encounter your first do you give up when you encounter your first major setback? See, I don't give up, but yeah, I can feel like some negative emotions, but then I'll channelize my energy into the right direction and then I'll go to the first one, right? That it is just a milestone and will lead to success ultimately. Now, do you try to change things that cannot be changed, or do you accept them? It depends. For this question, it depends. If I feel like this is something necessary and it needs to change, I'll put my energy into it and I'll try to change it. But there are certain things that maybe needs to get changed, but they don't hold any importance, like much importance. So you can just let it be, especially when it comes to expectations from others. All right. Do you believe you are here for a reason, or do you wander through life without any clear purpose? Okay. So for this one, I do feel like I am here for a reason, but yes, I am exploring the other options as well. So yeah, clear purpose point of view is also there. But yeah, I am here for a reason. I am very sure about it. Do you believe problems are bad and should be avoided, or do you believe they are necessary part of life? When I am in the problem, I feel like they are bad. But later on, when I introspect and retrospect, I feel like okay, these are some necessary part of life. Remember, what differentiate people who live a happy life from people who are miserable is often how they choose to interpret their lives. Okay, now these are certain action steps. These are based on the write down interpretation of your emotions using the workbook. It is based on the workbook. If you need the workbook, let me know. I'll put it in the comment section. Okay, now we understood why we need to change our interpretation, because if we'll change our interpretation and we'll perceive the things in a positive manner, then it will lead to success. Similarly, if like in contrast to that, if we'll interpret or if we'll like perceive the thing in negative sense, it will lead to nowhere, or like it will definitely not lead us to success, but it can lead us to something that we don't want to like achieve, right? So yes, by this we are coming to the end. I hope you all learned one thing or other from here. And in the next video, we are going to talk about letting go of our emotions. In case if you have any suggestions, put it in the comment section. If any part of the video that you like, let me know which part do you like. And also in related to trading and trading psychology, if you want me to cover any topic that is not already in the channel itself, or you want me to cover a particular topic in more detail, let me know in the comment section and I'll look into it. Okay. So till next time, we'll like stay healthy, stay safe, and peace out. Thank you so much, universe. Thank you so much, Radha. Have fun.